Welcome to the Giving a Purpose podcast. We talk, you listen. Streaming to the world and beyond, we will talk about all aspects of life. We will host a variety of guests, where each week we will educate, motivate, encourage, and inspire you. Let's get started with your host, Mr. L.A.
Welcome to the Giving a Purpose podcast, where we bridge the highs, the lows, the lessons learned through life's journey, and filling in the gap. So you guys already know what this is, man. It's a new week. So you know that means new goals. We got new momentum. I know sometimes we get up on Mondays, we like, man, we don't feel like it. But guess what? We changing that mindset. We moving forward. We doing big things. Listen, we are halfway through the year. So you know, time is not slowing down for nobody. So we moving through 2021, whether you like it or not. Now, I had to slow down a little bit. Listen, I do. I know I say it a lot, but I really, really, really do have a special guest with me today. Man, listen, we go back a while. I'm gonna let her introduce herself, and then we're gonna get into some stuff and how we linked up and all that good stuff. Um, I call her so many things. I'm still so used to calling her the Hunni Diva. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are.
So I am Amiyah Deziire. That is my pen name, my podcast name. I am a self-published author. My book is called Midnight Confessions. It's on Amazon. Go check it out. I have
Definitely.
my own podcast called. Well, I have so many podcasts. It's crazy. So I have Black 30 something and Pregnant as Fuck. That'll be dropping later on this month. And then I have Cocktail Confessions, which is a derivative of Midnight Confessions, because the girl got older. We was not staying up till midnight no more, needing my rest. So, and that's on Facebook, which will be switching over to YouTube shortly. So that's it about me
Oh,
for right now. And obviously, I'm from Brooklyn. Yes,
oh
I'm a
yeah.
Brooklyn girl.
Man, I don't even, what was it? I don't know if it was like Black Planet, MySpace. I don't know where we linked up a long time ago.
I have no idea. I want to say it's been at least 15 years at the
It's
least.
been a good
Yeah.
15, at least 15 years, because
Yeah.
I finished that fam in '05, so it was probably '06 ish,
That sounds
around
about
that
right.
time.
Yeah.
That's how far we go back. And man, we decided one time to do a show on Blog Talk Radio.
We did. It was
Man,
lit. It was
listen,
really lit.
listen, before all these podcasts was popping off,
Yep.
listen, this is my original co-host. And when I tell you we had so much fun, like we actually played music.
We did. We had
We
like fake commercials. We
we
used to
had
do the
commercials.
sports radio talk.
Yeah, man, we did it all. I remember that one time we did an episode where I don't forget, I just know homeboy had something to do with his girlfriend, and he like called her on three-way, and like we had like this whole he caught her in this like whole lie on the
Oh
three-way call,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
we had
that
like this whole thing. It was just like, oh
we were
wow,
like
she really is
counselors.
lying.
Yeah, we were like counselors and we was like, bruh, you gotta
Yeah,
that ain't where
listen,
it's at.
it is not, man. We had so much fun doing that show. It was just a great opportunity. And man, just to kind of see, like I said, we go back at least 15 years, and just to kind of see you
Yeah.
grow. Listen, we linked up also on some, like, for people that don't know, yeah, I did at one time. I like to write poetry and I like to write songs. So we used to have these things, just writing different poetry and just different things like that. But the
Yeah.
crazy thing about it is, man, just to see like your growth with everything, and you actually, publishing a book. Like, how did you get to just doing your poetry to actually putting out an actual book? Like, how did that come about?
Well, I was dating this guy, and so I think I published my book in 2017. So I was dating this guy previously to that, and we got into this deep conversation. And one thing he said to me was like, um, "I don't see why you love me," and it
Oh,
really stuck out to me because I was like, wow, like I feel like that's the most vulnerable I've ever had a guy be with me. And I thought to myself, like, damn, I know he's not the only one. And so I literally started writing him anonymous love notes on Facebook. Like it was out of thought for him, but it was also for other black men to see because I feel like black
Mm.
women kind of, I'm not gonna say we have that, but I felt like there were other places where it was coming from. So I was just like, let me speak directly to the men. Although it never came across like that, my intent was always for the guys. And so I just started writing stuff, like, hey, like you can show me your scars, I'll show you mine too. Just like little love notes. And I had a friend who was like, yo, these are really dope. You should put them in a book. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And I must have been writing those for like 2 years. So I had to go back on Facebook, download my Facebook page, add all these quotes in, edit them, all that good stuff. The shout out to Canva, who definitely like helps any, if you're an artist, Canva should is like where you should be. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I decided like I feel like this was a good move, and a lot of my men friends really, really love the book, and like that makes me happy to know that a man reads it and feels like, damn, like oh that's crazy, like this is good stuff, or like I feel that because I feel like women will always kind of like we'll always kind of get to that space where we're like, oh this is great, this is romance, this is love, but for a man to come and tell you like, listen, like I read the whole book and it's love quotes, so it's not like a deep novel, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
for guys to feel that, for them to actually feel it, it was like a big deal for me. And so that's where I got that book. And of course, everybody's like, so I'm actually working on an erotica right now. So it's totally out of what I've done, but not out of what I've done before. Like that book, Midnight Confessions, is poetry, but I've done erotica before. So this is gonna be a new avenue for me. So I'm excited about that.
Listen, I'm excited for when it comes out. Listen, so man, to go back on what you said, like, yeah, we us men, we have emotions. We don't always listen, we don't always operate in it, you know what I'm saying? And if
Mm-hmm.
we do, we like go to the extreme. But like it's funny, like I bought this shirt that what's that company? I think it's like Doers Clothing. Like it says music
Okay.
is my love language. Like, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like stuff like that, like for me, people that know me, like that's my world. Like lines from a song or lines from poetry are like that's
Yes.
like the language that I understand. Like, yo, I
Listen,
feel that.
I get it. I tell my friends, one of my homegirls, we were in Cali for my birthday, and
Hmm.
I think the New Edition song came on, like Can't Stand the Rain. I said, if he don't sing this song to me in our bedroom, it ain't I don't want it. I want that. I feel like, we think that certain stuff is corny, but really and truly it's touching. It's
Yeah.
really like thoughtful, right? Because especially in our generation, we have amazing bomb ass music, right? So
Yeah.
I'm thinking like you got New Edition, you got who we got, like I guess we can use 112 because 112 was there. So 112,
Yeah.
Drew Hill,
Jodeci.
Boys to Men, Jodeci, right? We had everybody. So the
Yeah.
idea that you could literally, bro, let me tell you, 2021, a dude could literally show up with a boombox or an iPad and a Bose radio outside and play me a song, and I'll be like, come here, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like we kind of lose we kind of lose ourselves in like all the big stuff, and the big stuff is great, but if the little things don't matter anymore, what happens when we can't always do the big stuff? You know what I mean? Like that
Hmm.
part you got to think about.
I think it's crazy like relationships now sometimes if you're not in the right one, I don't want to speak for everybody, but like
Yeah.
the dating scene now and just different things is almost like business deals. Everything is,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people sometimes, I guess because of our busy lives, they don't want to build anything anymore. Like people want turnkey relationships and
Facts.
stuff isn't, what I'm saying, stuff isn't really meaningful, with a foundation. And just to kind of go back a little bit, like I said, I just love like certain lines, like people that know me and the different music that I listen to, like of course, I hated that Floetry is not together anymore, but this
Ah,
song that they have, that they actually, if you just know the history of like Floetry, is the first song they ever really did. It was really how they got together because they were mixing poetry and song.
mm-hmm.
And the flow assist,
Yeah.
Natalie, she just has this line at the end that like for me is just like one of the greatest lines ever in a song. And she was just like, I'm not worried about your future, baby. Because after tonight, I plan on being in your history forever. Like that right
Oh,
there, like that. I
oh,
don't care.
okay.
Listen.
Okay.
I don't know what level y'all be on, what type
Bars.
of intimacy y'all doing, but that's like,
Bars.
listen, we gonna be linked forever. Like that's some type of, like, like that speaks to me. Like I like stuff
Yeah.
like that. When you, I think a song or poetry, whatever the case may be, like I should be able to imagine it. I should be able to
Mm-hmm.
feel that actual
Feel
thing.
it.
That's
Yeah.
what makes a good, you know what I'm saying, good poetry song, or good poetry or a song, that
Right.
for me, you know what I'm saying? Like I have to, yes, I have to feel it, but it's just like, oh, I can see that. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's it right there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's just crazy. So we have been, listen, I don't think y'all know, for so long in between these years we've always kept in touch, but we've been trying to link up to do another show
For a decade.
for like really
for
like a decade.
for
In
a decade.
between me moving to Florida, I even
Yeah.
moved back. We ran into
Yeah.
each other on the street when I came back when I
Mm-hmm.
was working at a school. Like we
Yeah.
just been, oh man, it's just been crazy. Cause like I said, we had this, we had a chemistry to do this, man, and it was
Yeah.
just cool. So definitely we just had an opportunity. I was like, listen, man, I need you to come on my podcast. We got to figure out something and link up. I see
I'm
you
glad to
doing what you're
be
doing.
here.
Yes, I'm so glad you are here. So, what are your thoughts? I know we were just kind of talking about that, and I'm just you guys are just getting the opportunity to intervene in our conversation. So, what do you got? What do you think of the state of like dating and love and things like that? Even with COVID, like I know it's crazy, but like, what do you think about the love or the dating scene nowadays?
So I'll say this as I've gotten older, right?
Hmm.
Because I'm gonna say the last time we probably had a real conversation about dating and love, I was probably still in my 20s, right?
Yeah.
And things have changed drastically. So I have progressed, right? Career wise, I have purchased my own home. And I think for me as a Black woman, what I find is that men feel intimidated by that, right?
Mm.
Like there's this thing that like they got to have all their ducks in a row. Like the assumption is that all my ducks are in a row, right? It
Mm.
just looks good, but you don't know what's going on behind the scenes for everything to look good, right? And so
Gotcha.
for me, dating has been inconsistent, right? So the guys that I run into, they'll talk a good game, but then they're like don't want to plan a date, or they're busy all the time, or they got other responsibilities that doesn't allow them time to even spend with me. So my biggest thing has been inconsistency, lack of communication, and then lack of healing, right? I'm a big fan
Mm.
of therapy. I've been in therapy for like the last probably year and a half, and I think the
Mm.
misconception is that people are in therapy because something is wrong with them. And it's like you need to be in therapy when things are going right, so that when things go wrong, and they will, you have a support system outside of
That's
your
good.
family and your friends. And so for me, it's just been a challenge, because I'm learning in therapy to use certain words. So it's been a
Okay.
challenge to meet men who want what I want. So I had this conversation the other day with a friend, right? A
Hmm.
man will meet me on a dating app and he will ask me, "What do you want?" Okay, listen to the question. What do you want? And I will say, I'm looking for a long-term relationship that
Hmm.
grows into marriage. I did not say I wanted a long term relationship with your ass. I just said I wanted a long term relationship. So I think that there's this misconception that because we're saying these things, that it means like, oh, I want to marry you tomorrow. That's not the point. The point is, I'm telling you, I don't want to waste my time, right?
Hmm.
I don't want to waste your time either. So that's the biggest thing that I feel is happening with the dating scene. And then also just as Black women, it's a lot. A lot of us are making more money,
Hmm.
and we are more educated. It's a lot.
Yeah. First, let me go back. You had a lot of good stuff in there, and I kind of want to
Hmm.
back up and talk about a couple of things. I want to get into the healing part. So, when I talk to people and we have different conversations and different things like that, we always have this conversation. And actually, this is also bringing me back to a quote that I read the other day. Somebody posted they were saying they wanted in a man that will help them heal. And I was like,
Mm.
everything they listed was good until they got to that part for me.
Right.
Like
Agree. I agree.
I think the problem, I think that's half of the problem sometimes with dating is you're looking for somebody to heal those wounds and you're not healing them yourselves, because what
Yourself.
happens is you get into that relationship and those triggers come. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, and it may not be that person that's actually trying to do something intentional or do something to hurt you. It's just because you haven't actually healed,
Right.
you're looking for them to do something, first of all, they didn't do. Two, you're asking them to, so we, there's always this discussion, like some people put up walls.
Right.
And I
Right.
used to tell people, listen, if we're gonna get together, we're gonna start dating. Listen, I'm not knocking down no walls because I didn't put them up. So I'm not knocking down no walls. If you know what I'm saying, yes,
Yeah, I guess you.
boundaries are a thing, yes, but
Absolutely. Absolutely.
but I'm not putting down no walls of things you need to heal from. I said
Yeah.
because we're never going to get where we need to go. And like people would always ask me, because people that know, they know my story in my podcast. Like people know that I'm divorced, and they're like, well, how you ready? I said because I healed from it. Like I wouldn't have never get into a relationship if I haven't healed from
Right.
the marriage that I was in. Because
Right.
that like to me that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I can do it because first I own up to the stuff I did.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
allow the healing process. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, okay, this is what you was responsible for. This is where you jacked up. Okay, I got it. And you got
Right.
to take that lesson and go from there. And I think a lot of people are, kind of looking to that person to heal something that they really are never going to heal. You're just actually, I think, kind of burying it. Those are my
But
thoughts on
yeah, and to your point, it's really not about you, right? So hypothetically, you and I are dating.
it.
These triggers have nothing to do with you. They have
Exactly.
everything to do with me, my past, right? And probably childhood. I don't think we
Yeah.
understand like how much childhood trauma
Yeah.
we have, right? And I know that people are kind of like over the word trauma, so I'll just say your experiences, right? Your experiences of how you interacted with your parents, your siblings, your friends, other family members, and then as you got older in your relationships, those things cultivate like the whole person that you are right now. So I know
Right.
for me for a fact that when I go to therapy and I'm talking to my therapist and he's like, yo, you are so smart. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I know this, right? But on the other hand, toxicity is real easy. You know what I'm saying? Like being
Mm.
toxic. So you got to really figure yourself out. And just to go back for a minute, not all men, right? Not all men are intimidated, right? But there are a good handful who are intimidated, and there are a good handful who are just afraid of love. And so I've come
Mm.
to the conclusion that unfortunately, Black men have a lot of weight to carry, right? There's a lot of things that I will never understand because I'm not a Black man. However, right? Is it easier to carry the load, right? You coming in the house and you got 10 grocery bags. Is it easier for you to share 5 bags with somebody else, or would you rather put 5 bags on each arm and carry it in? Like at the end of the day, a combined a union, right? Whether you are married or not, whether it's just a long-term relationship, it's consistent companionship, all of that matters, and it's a lot easier to get through life with somebody on your side than it is to be like single and running the streets.
Yeah, I think a couple of things come into play. Um, One, a lot of men. I'm okay. I'm gonna say a lot.
Hmm.
Some men first you come with pride, so that's the first thing.
Ah, yeah,
Okay, let's we got to keep it up. We got to keep it a buck. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like sometimes your pride won't allow you to do certain
Hmm.
things. Then it
Hmm.
comes, kind of what we were talking about earlier. It kind of depends on your the way you were raised,
Yeah,
or what you may have observed in your experiences growing up. Like some people may have grown up traditional. Some people may
right.
have grown up with like a single parent, and it's like, well, I've seen independency, so I don't necessarily need a person, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Or I may have come, like, let's back to, an example. Let's say you and I are dating. It's like I came from being raised from a single mom. You had both parents in the house, and it's just like, well, I can really do everything by myself.
Right,
Like I
right.
I might be, I'm not saying, I'm just joking. Like, I might be just with you for tax purposes, or, something crazy like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Hey,
we just
listen, you
had,
gonna get a good tax break with me, baby.
listen, but you know what I'm saying? It's just those ideas of, we have this thing. And I would always, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always use my, experiences, of course. Um, I was in a relationship with someone and they always wanted me to be like their dad. And I was like,
Mm,
I hear you. I said, but I necessarily wasn't raised like that. I said for
right.
the first 10 years of my life I was raised by a single mom. Like, I when the car broke, we took it to a mechanic. Like, I don't look under the hood necessarily. I said I can
Right.
take it to
Right.
somebody, but you
Right.
can't hold me to something that
I've never
I don't
done.
do. Like,
Yeah.
looking under in it and saying, and like, all right, you should be in charge of it because you the man. Like, we both looking stupid because that's just not what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's not what I did. Like, we didn't, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have like, well, I do have uncles, but my uncles all, when my mom moved here, um, all her brothers lived in Pennsylvania. It's not like, all right, I went out with my uncles and I was with them while they were fixing cars. You know what I'm saying? It was
Right.
just, like I said, it was
Yeah.
just me and my mom. When the car broke
Yeah.
down, we took it to, she had a Nissan back then, we took it to Nissan.
But I think that that also what you're saying goes along the lines of understanding that you cannot be everything.
Hmm.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
uh, if you and I are dating, I'm not coming to you for everything because before I got to you, I had a mechanic, I had a plumber, I had a barber, a hair. You know what I mean? Like all these things have been taken care of. I have a good friend, a girlfriend, a best friend. I got a mama. I got a. You know what I'm saying? Like so,
Yeah.
the idea that I'm coming to you and now we get married and you're supposed to be everything, right? That to me is an awful idea and something that we should probably break out of, right?
Yeah.
So for me personally, I always look to find somebody who I can integrate into the life I already have. You know what I mean? Like
Adding
and
value. That's what it's
and
about.
yeah, and you have to also know like what's very important to you. Like you said, what are your values? What's the top three things that you absolutely need? And again, all of this that I'm saying now is me doing work. You know what I mean? Like me being in therapy, me looking at these different books or affirmations or whatever the case is. Like this is putting in work. You don't just get here and be like, "Oh, I'm great." Like no, I had to have some bad rocky road relationships that got me to the space where I was like, "You know what? I can't do this anymore." And
Hmm.
I think that we have to get there and understand you really got to know your worth too, right? Because
Facts.
unfortunately, the old saying is still six, right? It's still six that people only gonna do what you allow them to do, right? And we have
Facts.
to be mindful of how we treat ourselves. So if we treat ourselves good, I'm damn sure not gonna let somebody walk into my life and treat me like trash because that's not how I treat myself.
But yeah, I mean, that goes back to what we were saying. Like, there's a difference between the wall and the boundaries. And then you
Yeah,
got some people building whole buildings around themselves with a with a fingerprint thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
I mean,
th-
I
th-
think that I'm good. I mean, I think I got security cameras and I got snipers just in case, just in case.
yeah. I mean, like I said, definitely different times. It was crazy at one time on the dating scene. I was trying to figure out, like, like I said, I was married, and then getting back into the dating scene, you realize things have changed
Drastically.
so much, and you're like,
Hmm.
so I literally, true story. I had a young lady tell me, she was like, well, I kind of still date other people. It's like, I'm not going to choose anybody until somebody proposes to me. And I'm like,
Proposes.
and I said, so you're going to date
What?
multiple people until one of those guys proposes to you? I said, well, how do you know which one is serious? And cause but you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I had to let her know. I was like, listen, if I'm not, I guess I'm old school. I said, if I'm not the only option, I'm not going to be an option. Like, there's no possible way. Let's say you're dating three guys. I'm giving you 100% and you only give me a third. Like, you can't give me
Right.
33%.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you can't give me
Yeah.
33% and I'm giving 100. Like, something's
Yeah.
off. And then
No, I agree.
and then you think that I'm going to propose to you knowing
If you,
that you
yeah.
still giving your attention to two other people.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
That's intense. That's insane.
But it happened more than once. So I know that it's a thing.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a
okay.
thing, and I'm
Okay.
like, oh, so this is what's going on?
So I can piece of me understands, right? because
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more about safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably not using the right word, but I think it's more about knowing that in case something happens, you have a fallback plan. Not that it's right, but I fear that some women have experienced awful relationships, so much so that they're like, I can't give my all because the last time I gave my all, I ended up in a ditch somewhere. You feel me? So like, it's not
Mm-hmm.
right, but I can kind of understand the thought process, although I probably myself wouldn't do it. I get that after you've been hurt for quite some time and you hear the phrase, like I'm surrounded by a lot of really good guys, right? And my friends will be like, oh my God, you'll make such a good wife one day. And I'm like, but I'm like single, like the dollar bill on some stripper's booty over in the strip club. Like, so the idea
Wow.
that I'm amazing and I'm good and people find me to be, you know, this great woman that could possibly be a good wife, it kind of sucks that the last relationship, you know, didn't go the way I wanted it to. So now here I am back on the scene again. And I have had many of girlfriends tell me like, "Yo, you should date multiple people." But my focus, like, I don't have that time. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just not there. And for me, I don't connect with everybody. You know, unfortunately, I just had a situation where I went on a date with a guy, right? And he was just blowing my phone up. I do not like to feel smothered, right? And he was just like, what are you doing? Where are you going? When are you coming back? Can I take you out this time? Oh, I really like this first date. Can we go on a second date here? And it was like, it's too much, too fast. Slow down, pump your brakes, right? But by the time I was ready to have that conversation, the text messages had already like flooded. And I was like, all right, I can't do this. Like, you know, I think you're a really nice guy, but I don't think this is going to work out. And so, it's unfortunate, but it's also like we have to realize what we want. And if you're not what I want, then there's, you know, no reason to drag it out and make it longer than it has to be, you know. But I definitely understand that once you get hit hard, you know, if Floyd walked up to you and punched you in the chest, you're gonna have to it's gonna take you a minute for you to catch your breath. You'll catch your breath, but now you kind of, whenever somebody gets too close, you're like, you got reflexes. You flinching. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, but it's just like if we take that analogy for me, it's like now, all right, boom, Floyd hit me, but now I'm putting myself into getting to three fights at one time instead of, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying, instead of
Yeah, no, I
handling
get you.
the one. Or if that, all right, I got hit, I need to figure out some defense, one, or two,
Hmm.
I need to heal the injuries from whatever Floyd hit me with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
I agree. I think that dating multiple people is always going to be tricky. And it definitely is a personal thing, right? So, like I said, I know for a fact that it's probably not my thing, only because I like people. And I know that if I like somebody mentally, then I'm already probably in. So, I'm not going to have the time to look at somebody else, you know. But I think that people do it more so out of fear and hurt than they do out of like options. And maybe it's 50-50. Maybe people are doing it for options because like, you know, this might not work. And then other people are like, well, I just don't want to get hurt again. So at least if I'm dating A and A falls through, I'm still got B and C.
Hmm. It's tough. I
It
just don't
is.
want to be B or C. It is like that's just my
At
thing.
this
Like
point, I'm
I don't
getting
want to be
ready to
B or C.
sign up for an arranged marriage because listen, honey, right? It's too much. Too much. I don't want to do all that. This dating scene looks very different and it's just people just aren't honest
Mm.
as they should be. You know what I mean? Like it's real simple. Like when you're hitting almost 40, I'm not out here to look, you know, to play for games. You know what I mean? Like again, like I said, that doesn't mean I want to marry you, but I'm just letting you know what I'm about and what my time is about. So if you're not here for, you know, for long-term gain, then like it's all good, but I'm not the girl for you.
Listen, I mean, but that's a real thing. I mean, I know people may say, "Oh, what's your your marriage didn't work out," blah blah, whatever the case may be. But that's how at that time before we got to, when we first started talking, like that's how I present. I was like, "Listen," because first of all, we lived in two different states, so I was
Mm-hmm.
still here, and she was from Florida. So my dad tried to hook us up, whatever.
Right.
But what I told her was I was like, listen, if this isn't in the direction of going to the next level, we can be cool. Just when I fly down there, I'll have somebody to hang out with. And, you can kind of show me around. I'm not really from
Right.
Florida, but if I come
Right.
down there and visit my dad, boom, we got somebody. I got somebody I can hang out with. So I'm
Right.
letting you know up front, like if it's, I'm not here to look cute together. I'm not about the high school love, like we just look good together type of thing. Like if you're not trying to go to the next level, then I'm cool with it. Because like I
Right.
said, right now we live in two different states, and it's got to be a lot of trust going on right here
Facts.
until whatever. I mean, things eventually did happen. I ended up getting a job down there and going, but you know what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot going on that we gotta make sure that we're doing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, to be playing around with it. But like I said, with that, I guess I was old school. But then, like like I said, after marriage, getting it, it was just like, so we got options. Like, I don't want you to. If I make you feel like an option, then you are.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying, like. And I think that's why I and it's funny because you hear people complain when they get text messages like, what you doing? I think that's
Hmm.
because we're in an option type of thing.
Yeah.
You
Don't
know what
what
I'm
you
saying?
doing me or where you at me to death.
You
Like,
know what I'm saying? But I
mm-mm.
think it's because we're in that option type of thing right now. Because if this is just my opinion, if you're really into that person, you guys already communicated. You might can guess what they're already doing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying, through
Right.
communication, that you don't have to ask them every time, like what you doing. You know what I'm saying? But like I
Yeah.
said, when you're dating multiple people, to keeping track of what you're doing, you got to ask
Hello?
multiple people what you're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah. I
So.
agree. I definitely think that it just needs to be authentic, right? But again,
Mhm.
if you're not authentic with yourself, you're not honest with yourself, if you're not vulnerable with yourself, you're not going to be able to do none of that with anybody else. And dating requires vulnerability and honesty in a
Ooh.
space where you have to have already done it with yourself. You know what I mean? It's just, to me, it boggles my mind that, again, in my experience, I've met men who are willing to pass up a great connection or a great chemistry with me because they're like, oh, you know what? I'm in the middle of transitioning from this job to that job, or my income isn't the way I want it to be. And I stress this in my space because this is how I feel. So this is my opinion.
Mhm.
um I pay mortgage, I pay my own car insurance, I pay my own car notes, I pay the bills, right? So
Mhm.
you coming into my life, you are not here to be the guy who pays the bills. You are here for companionship. You are here for friendship. You are here for romance. You're right. You are here to be supportive, to be encouraging. Like I'm baffled. And I even was asking my friend earlier today because I'm gonna make a post on Instagram, which I'm pretty sure I might get some heat for, but I put like, just in case you forgot, um, you, yeah, just in case you forgot, Black men, your money does not determine your worth.
Mhm.
Just in case,
Mhm.
just in case you've dated women who were after your pockets, who want you to pay for everything. Like, not all of us think that way, right? And I am not coming into a relationship looking for a sugar daddy or a daddy because I have a daddy. If I need money, right? Like, then I'll go ask
But
him. But like,
to be honest with you, I think, like I said, that comes with communication and different things like that. But I think it's safe for me to say that's probably an assumption that most men think. Like,
oh yeah,
when I get into this thing, I mean, because like I said, it depends on the person that you're talking to, their background. I know personally many of women, like, boom, I'm not paying for nothing. Like, that's
right.
just, that's just how it is. And it was crazy. So um I was listening to a conversation with uh someone was talking about, throwing the Bible in there, saying, man's supposed to do all these things. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I was asked, they were like, so, like, what do you think about that? I said, in theory, he would be correct. I said, but it's not practical for like now. I said, you also have to realize that, the Bible is also a history book. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it was written in a time. I said, you got to think about it. Our parents, when they were born, women couldn't even vote. So, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then the crazy thing about it is, I always tell people, I said, have y'all ever looked provide up in the dictionary? It says nothing about paying, but I get it. But you know what I'm saying? Like I
I think,
get, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
at the same time, I think you got to understand with the thought process of that. That's like me telling my daughter, um, after you get your high school diploma, you good. Find a man that's gonna take care of you. Like, what's the use of you getting a college education
right,
if you're going to just find a man that's going to take care of you?
right,
Like,
right.
you don't need a job. Like, what do you need an education for if
But
you know what I'm
see,
saying? Like,
I get you, but here's the thing where I think it's confusing, right? Me saying that I pay the mortgage and the bills, right? I'm
mhm,
saying that that's what I do for myself right
I
now. So
got you.
I don't need you to do that. But if you and I get married, we will decide what's best for our household. And don't nobody need to know about that anyway, because I ain't none of their damn business. You see what I'm saying? So
Listen,
if we did it the right way, which is we kept people out of our relationship because a
all
relationship
facts.
requires two people.
All right. Yeah, so we had to take a slight break, but we're back. Um, so yeah, man, with relationships and everything, it's just you first you always have to be careful. But I think what's important that you said before everything did what it was doing was you have to do what's best for your relationship. Like that's totally the thing. Like I think people lose focus of that because, like I said, that you have influence of how you grew up and just different things like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
You never know. Like you said, women are getting more educations now, and like if you're making more money than me, and we figure out we're doing what we're doing, first of all, you don't have to know anything. Listen, true story. My mom, my mom and my stepfather here didn't know I was divorced until I drove up to their house and came
What?
back. Like this is
What?
how much you keep people out. No, I'm dead serious. Like that's how they had
Wow.
no clue what was going on. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
To what
Okay.
we were talking about earlier. Like I keep you out my relationship. Like if there's trouble going on, you're not gonna know it. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like
Right.
we gonna figure it out. We did our counseling. Did different things like that. But like I said, you didn't know it was over until
It was over.
it was over.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Right.
just kind of one of those things. I think, and it happens on both sides. We just have this thing where we let too many people. Not saying that you can't talk to your friends for advice and just different things like that, but you have to
Yeah. Yeah.
filter. You have to filter the information that you're coming in, and
That
if
part.
you guys are having a problem that you can't figure out, just like you started off this podcast, like there's counselors out there for it. You know what I'm saying? You guys might need to sit and need some help so you can learn to do your communication. So you
I
can,
agree.
learn to get on the same level with things. So definitely good information. And like I said, even if things are going good, just to how to make it better, like you were saying
Mhm.
earlier, with
Yeah.
just seeing a counselor and just different things like that. So important. So
Right.
definitely. Listen, I am so thankful for you coming on doing the show. Do me a favor, real quick. Like I said, you said it in the beginning. We're gonna say it in. I want you to name all your books. Make sure people know where to find you. Shout out your IG and everything on here, so people can make sure they keep an eye out for you. Listen, we're gonna have probably part twos and part threes coming up for you. Like I said, this is my
Absolutely.
original co-host.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? We you don't know what we might do. This
I'm
might be the
here.
start of something. This might be the start of something. We could
I'm
start
here
back
for
up.
it.
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
here
So
for it. Yeah.
listen, we might have to start a whole nother podcast or do a live or something like that.
Listen, I'm here for it. But yeah, you can find me at Amiyah Desire on everything. So it's AmiyahDeziire. And that's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok. We got so much stuff that, and then also the book is called Midnight Confessions. So when you type it in Amazon, you want to type in Midnight Confessions and then put Amiyah behind it, and it's on Amazon. It'll pop right up. So that's me.
Man,
That's where
that's
you can find
awesome.
me.
Like I said, so proud of you. Like I said, I seen the growth from from a long time ago. But
Indeed.
definitely, man, I appreciate you coming on here, blessing us with jewels and
Anytime.
just having people enjoy our conversation of today. Listen, you guys already know myself and Tristan Marsh every Monday on IG Live. We do our Mental Health Monday. We're in May, so Mental Health Awareness Month. So make sure you guys check that out We're just helping people get through, like I said, when things are going good, when things are going bad, we're just making sure mental health is just at the top. We're trying to make it part of the culture. So make sure you guys do that. Also, you
Absolutely.
already know what it is. Make sure you guys live on purpose and make sure you live in purpose. I will see you guys next week. Peace, peace.
You've been listening to the Giving a Purpose podcast. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or Google Play to get new, fresh weekly episodes. For more, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.